So Falcon and the Winter Soldier is upon us, you guys. Marvel Studios was, given the circumstances in the world right now, forced to make us wait 1.5 years for anything new MCU, and now we're just only starting to come to terms with how great Wandavision is, and BAM! New content. I don't know about you, but to me it's like eating 2 dinners till your belly bursts after 3 weeks of fasting. Hi fellow Disney Plus watchers, this is Thoughts After Disney Plus Watch, where we review everything new Disney Plus coming out, and I'm glad you're watching. Okay, I will quickly give my stance on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier before I saw the episode. What were my expectations, how much was I looking forward to it, all that jazz. I didn't really care like I did about WandaVision or still do about Loki or Ms. Marvel, because I didn't think there was much meat on the bone to explore. We saw the story about the Winter Soldier already. Bucky Barnes is already redeemed and I don't know what role there is left to play for him in the MCU. For Falcon kind of the same, but there's more room for a character progression, because he didn't really get any till now. He was always a nice sidekick, had some nice banter with Steve Rogers, but ultimately there wasn't anything of drama, character flaw, or anything juicy about this character. Except for maybe him getting his shield from Cap. That's where this show comes in also. I just feel like there were better, more interesting Marvel shows to come up with than Falcon and the Winter Soldier. To me, the idea of this show feels like MCU the TV show. From all the stuff that's coming this year, this idea and this tone, the superhero spy thriller, is the most within the confines of the MCU, next to maybe Hawkeye. As far as we know, right? As far as we know. But hey, this is where I'm coming from. Don't want to take away from your hype about this show. I'm still very excited to discuss it with all of you. By the way, if you happen to be interested in a ranking of the 9 WandaVision episodes, you can find them listed on the right in the description or on my channel page. And before we move on, did you know I'm currently the only review channel on YouTube that is specifically Disney Plus? You'll always know what to expect. Click that button and that bell if you want to follow along. Thank you so much. So Falcon and the Winter Soldier is about Bucky Barnes and Sam Wilson dealing with family problems, guilt complexes, and new terrorist uprisings in the post-blip world. The show will also address what it's like for Sam to carry on the legacy of Captain America after receiving the shield from him in Endgame. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is everything I expected it to be. Nothing more, nothing less, except for maybe one thing. I was totally wrong about Bucky. His character arc is just beginning actually. Without going into any spoilers, how he deals with what he as the Winter Soldier has done and left behind is pretty touching. Although he knows that super soldier wasn't him, he still is pretty traumatized and conflicted about everything. He really struggles to live a normal life and finding new purpose and everything. The potential of Bucky's character progression for this show is far bigger than I expected it to be. When Marvel first announced this show, I was actually a bit confused about why we needed this character to return in a major role. And now I see why, and I really hope the creators of this show have found a way to incorporate his story into the main plot of the terrorist organization, and that's what's at play there, because that link is not present yet. And that's the only thing about this episode that doesn't make it a great show yet. The personal stuff that Bucky and Sam are dealing with are totally separate from the setup of the plot. The characters don't meet, the stakes aren't really high yet, because they're not putting their personal lives at risk trying to save the world or anything. All those stakes have yet to be revealed, so this episode is good, but nothing amazing yet, because it's just setup still. But there's a lot of great stuff in this episode. The opening action sequence is really engaging because of the big sweeping camera movements, a lot of missiles, helicopters, people flying around, but the action is still really easy to follow. It's really one of the most expensive looking action sequences from a Disney Plus show yet, maybe next to the fight with the Krayt Dragon in Mando Season 2. That one was also very beautiful. The thing I admired about this first chapter of the story is how much time it takes to flesh out the main characters. A whole personal drama about Sam's family is revealed, and it's nice to see some fleshing out of Falcon, because he was cool so far in the MCU, but not much more than an action figure, if we're honest with ourselves. If someone would ask me to describe his character, I wouldn't get much further than friend of Captain America, the guy with wings. Now that's totally changed. The episode is also very interesting in the context of the world we're currently in. I will elaborate on it in my spoiler section, because I need to keep it vague, but people taking notice of the political climate right now will recognize some things that are currently happening in the world. I mean, looking at the title of the episode alone reminded me a bit of the current shift happening in societies. But there's more of that in the episode itself, of course. It's like this show was made for 2021. That was pretty interesting to see. So, to summarize my feelings about this show so far, great action, good character development for a setup episode. Bucky gets a more touching character arc than I expected. Overall, exactly what I was expecting, and not much more. The story takes advantage of the TV format and takes its time to develop the characters. It's good, it didn't blow me away, it was just good. Marvel good. Now a few spoiler things. You have been warned. Spoilers, 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 here we go. A world unified without borders. That's a description Sam gives to the current state of the world. That line immediately stood out to me, because I can't help but see the synchronicity of this show and the real world. I mean, a great tragedy happens, where after governments change their political course to govern lots of things at a worldwide scale. I mean, if the current state of the world is a post-blip world, then the current geopolitical goals very much align with this phrase, unified without borders. A global treaty, if you will, a change of scale in dealing with societies. It's not even important what your opinion is about this global change. Maybe we can all take away something from this show, and maybe it will even help to form our opinion of this happening in the real world. What do you guys think about this political undertone? Did you notice it at all? I would love to hear from you. You know, my spoiler section is about random things that stood out to me or that I think is worth talking about. Now for something completely different. Why is there one shot in this episode that is poorly spaced? Look at this. I'm sorry. The cinematography, just to be fair, the cinematography in this episode was so engaging, really great, not hating here, but suddenly during the counseling scene where Bucky talks to the psychiatrist, there's one shot where his head is placed in the shot like this, like you see on the screen. Why? The rest of the scene is so instantly filmed. Look at these shots. They're really good. We are right there with the characters, right in their skin. Why is there such a weird shot in between? It must be a mistake, to be honest. Or they ran out of reaction shots to use. Am I the only one who thinks that this guy right here is going to be a big deal? No, of course not. He had crazy superhuman powers. We all know he's going to be a big deal. Probably another Winter Soldier. But what I mean, do you think this is going to be a big character reveal of some sort? I felt like the way the episode actively paused to make us wonder who's behind the mask. Curious what that's about. If it were only for his super strength, I don't think the filmmakers would want us to linger on his face so long, the way he looks and stuff. This long, I think there's something behind it. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Do you like Falcon and the Winter Soldier so far? I know I do. I don't think it's anything earth-shattering, but I didn't expect this to be that kind of show. So it's not like WandaVision that just blows me away constantly. Next week I'm back, of course, with the second episode and, of course, the Mighty Ducks Game Changers. If you want to leave a like, that's awesome, and I will see you next week. For now, have a wonderful day and see ya!